Hello, and welcome everybody to Chalkcast,
Yo.
episode number 34. We're here joined by the Gaming Gladiators, more specifically, OSM, Markydooda, and Max, because Marky decided to be on both cameras today. We got an excellent view of Marky, but we do have these three here. This is the Apex team who qualified for the upcoming RLCS Major, and they're currently in JamesBot's basement. Can you guys please tell me a little bit about how you guys ended up at JamesBot's place?
Well, first of all, since our qualification to Major, we're officially called the Gladiators now. So please get that right in the future.
Gaming Gladiators.
That's correct.
Rebrand?
Yeah, the Gladiators. So please refer to us as that from now on.
Okay.
And James put us up in a great big studio. I don't know if you can see, but there's gaming PCs everywhere. There's a fridge over there full of like gamer drinks, like, you know, I don't know if I'm allowed to say brands, but sugary drinks basically.
Yeah, yeah, it's fine.
You can say whatever you want.
Okay, there's like Mountain Dews, Coca-Cola, and all that in there.
Anything legal you can talk about.
Of all people, I didn't expect Marky to be careful. I'll just.
He's so corporate.
Yeah, I know.
What happened to you? You've changed.
I don't know. I grew up. I had a near-death experience, and now I'm very corporately aware.
Wait, did you actually live near? Or are you just talking about the time that you jumped into a pool full of clothes in Saudi Arabia? You're like calling that a near-death experience? Like what?
No, I was just waffling. Sorry, I had no near-death experience.
Thought we might have to dig deeper there. But okay, one thing we have to very quickly mention is LCT's not there. He's the third player with Max and OSM. Marky is coaching. So LCT's not there. What's the deal? Is he coming to the boot camp anytime soon?
He will be coming, on the 28th this month. Sadly, it's just visa issues. It's typical, you know. He had a bad spawn in Asia. Just couldn't get it fast enough.
She said a bad spawn.
He had a bad spawn, man.
It happens to the best of us. Bad spawn.
Yeah, he struggles with it, man.
That's hilarious. I mean, it's got to be a good spawn. Where is he from again?
Indonesia.
Indonesia. So bad spawn for U.S. embassy visa interactions, but it must be nice for. It must be a good spawn for something. All right, there's got to be upsides. What is it like living in APAC? You guys live out there. OSM's out there right now. Where are you at? I know in Asia right now, OSM.
I live in Indonesia.
You live in Indonesia as well?
Yeah, it's amazing.
How is it as a spawn point? Would you say?
As a spawn, I'm not sure it's a great spawn point, but moving there, it's fantastic. Yeah, living there for like 7-8 months now, something like that.
OSM has all the Icelandic spawn buffs.
Do you have
the Icelandic spawn?
Do you have like an apartment? Like what's your setup?
No, I got a villa with like a pool.
Wait,
I'm gonna flex you. I got like a 2-bedroom, 3-bedroom villa with a pool. I'm living the life.
What?
So, wait, whoa.
Okay, I might unretire. Please keep talking.
Well, wait a second. So you're renting a villa. Like, did you have to buy a setup? Did you bring your setup over? Like, what? How are you practicing?
I brought my PC, but I bought a new monitor, a new keyboard, a new mouse, something like that.
Wow.
So is there a mall nearby? Like, is it westernized where you are? Is it like sort of?
Well, it's very tourist. CJ, I'm very surprised you don't know this because it's basically the tourism island for Australia.
Yeah, the Australia place.
Yeah. Everyone, like every single Australian goes there. So yeah, I mean, there's plenty of tech shops, plenty of shops around. It is westernized to some extent because it has a lot of tourism, but it's still a very different culture.
And Max, you're in Singapore, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I'm in Singapore.
And how long? Wait, were you born in Singapore or were you born in Ireland? So you're Irish.
Yeah, so I was born in Ireland and lived there for like 15 years, and then moved to Singapore. When I was like 15, and both are like good spawn points. So I'm like either way, I was pretty gifted in that regard. So yeah.
I actually never picked up on your Irish accent, but now you say it, that's all I can hear.
As soon as he said I'm Irish, I heard it.
Yeah, he's like,
really?
Ireland. Are you from Ireland?
I thought it was so clear the first time I heard him speak. He's got a very Irish accent.
No, he does not. You're tripping, man. Nah, you're trolling.
I'm not trolling. You're so obviously Irish. I can't believe this.
To be fair, I think it switched after he said Ireland. It was like American Singaporean, then he said Ireland, and it was like Father Ted extra after that.
Yeah, it went down.
I think we're just like more. There's a lot of Irish people in Scotland, so I'm quite used to picking up on like people who are used to live in Ireland and I don't. and they still have
Yeah.
Irish twang in their accent. But okay, how long? You're 19 or 20 now, Max? I forget exactly.
Turning 20 this year.
I know this because I saw a top 10 oldest players
not
at the Winter
this,
Major.
bro. Not this, bro.
Aw.
And you were number 10. You were the 10th oldest at the Winter Major. But, however, younger than Alpha 54. He was shocked to discover at the grand old age of 19, he's the 9th oldest player at the Winter Major, which is incredible. At 19,
Yeah, he's
you can
old,
be
bro.
the top 9 oldest out of 48 players. Incredible.
Wow.
Incredible.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, speaking of spawn points, Marky's from Scotland, so obviously
Yeah.
terrible spawn.
I think it's
Oh,
a
no, no.
pretty decent.
Can we
spawn.
talk about Lewis? He's also in that list, and I believe he's number 5.
Yeah,
So I'm not
he's
the oldest here,
old.
okay?
He is so
Yeah,
old. Man. I
he's
can't,
pretty
I can't
old.
believe I'm teaming with old people. Like, what is this, man?
So
We
when you
used
say
to have
Lewis,
like freaky,
you mean LCT
pashy.
is Lewis, right? He's
Yeah,
Lewis
sorry,
Rizzo.
yeah.
Okay.
We
Just for the
used to
viewers
have
listening.
like 25, 26-year-olds in the scene.
Mhm.
You know, Chrome was like 26 when it 27. Rizzo was like 32. You know,
Okay.
and
Wait,
then
what's wrong with
all of
being
a sudden we're
32?
all gone.
Whoa.
And then I
You know
was
what's wrong with being
24,
32.
like
I hope
turning 24.
I'm holding on to that. Holding on to the idea that I don't actually know what's wrong with it. I'm trying to think of reasons there's nothing wrong with that actually. But okay,
So-
back to you guys. How
Yeah.
this split so far has been pretty interesting for you. You've qualified ahead of Elevate, formerly James Cheese. Everybody thought that they were going to win everything in APAC this whole season. Virtuoso, Realize, and Kami. You guys beat them in a grand final of Regional 3 where the winner goes to the major. It's pretty simple. You guys win, you go to the major. They win, they go to the major. They were up 3-1, and you guys did a little bit of a reverse sweep there to win 4-3. What was that like? First of all, we'll go back to the earlier part of the split after, but that series, how did you pull that off? That's an incredible comeback to qualify for
I
LAN.
mean, to begin with, first of all, we gotta just say that obviously he doesn't get the props that he deserves, but Marky strats for that series was crucial. Honestly, we kind of fully came up with a strat to play specifically against them because they're so different to any other APAC team.
Which you're going to keep quiet about, by the way, because it's.
Yeah, we're not gonna tell you that. Gotta keep the coach's secrets. But no, when we came 3-1 down, we kind of just had a mental reset in between the games. We just told each other, like, look, I mean, this is, at the end of the day, this is it. Like, this is what we've been practicing for. Like, nobody has any expectations of us, and we just gotta go at it with no stress, no nerves, and just show what we have. And we didn't have any expectations. We just went in there with all we have, and no thoughts of like this might be it. We could win this or we could lose this. We just did our thing.
Yeah, I think as well, especially in the it would have been the 5th game and the 6th game, LCT actually stepped up big time, especially in the 5th game. And I think which camera did I look at? And it was that kind of way where one of your players sort of steps up, and then the other two gain confidence from seeing one of their teammates pop off. So I would say in the 5th game, Lewis really popped off and sort of put the team on his back, and then the 6th and 7th game, these two started getting confident, started playing really well, and just started outclassing them once all three of them were popping off.
Yeah.
Do you think that going 3-1 down was nearly the best thing that could happen for you guys? Because I watched that whole series, and it just looked like once you won Game 5, you just went on a run. And it was just that, nothing to lose mindset versus a team that was, in the back of their minds thinking, surely not. Surely it's not going to go to 7. Surely it's not going to go to 7. And then it gets to champ field, and then they're thinking, oh my God, we can't lose this. Whereas you guys are just going for it, peaking.
Yeah, I think being an underdog gave us a slight edge, Max.
Yeah, definitely. Also not we're already on our last life in terms of games, so
yeah,
it doesn't really matter if we lose.
Well,
anything
the
point.
embarrassment factor for us losing was a lot lower. The embarrassment factor for Elevate losing, a lot more embarrassing for them. So I think that got in their heads.
There just wasn't any pressure on us. At the end of the day, the first split, there was pressure on us because they're the expectations were the two titans of APAC, but in this split, nobody really had us as the favorites to go and make it. So there's no pressure on us really.
What was your record against them this season so far? You played them quite a few times, right?
Yeah, I think this was the first time we beat them.
Yeah.
Out of the 3 times we beat them, I think.
Oh, it's 3, right? Okay,
Yeah.
You guys had the second win on them because Detonator beat them in the first regional, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah.
Thanks, Detonator.
Where did you guys play Detonator or Elevate in the first regional? I forget which side of the bracket you were on.
We played Detonator in the grand finals, right?
Yeah,
you avoided everyone.
Yeah,
Right.
we made all 3 grand finals.
Because Detonator eliminated Elevate in the semis.
Yep.
Then beat you guys in the final. No, do you guys win the finals or came second?
No, they beat us game
Detonator
7.
won the finals.
Yeah.
And then Elevate won the second one. So you both outplaced each other by 1 round going into the last event on even points. Man, it's actually so scripted, but I couldn't believe it. The way that APAC is timed is I'm usually waking up pretty late. I woke up and the grand final was just about to start. I remember I was like, wait a minute, this is perfect. I'm on the golden schedule right now. Watch this final. Couldn't believe my eyes. But okay, looking forward though, what sort of expectations have you got for the major? You're in a group with Liquid, Ground Zero from OCE, and Team Secret from South America. What are we thinking for that
group of life? Yeah. No, honestly, like we realize again, there's no pressure on us. Like we're just coming here to practice as much as possible and get as good as possible. But there's no pressure on us again. Like we're gonna do our own thing, and we're gonna probably surprise them. Maybe we'll get a surprise third. But I don't think we're gonna go down as easy as some people are expecting. Because all the pressure is on them. The moment they lose one game, they're gonna be thinking in the back of their mind, "Don't lose to this APAC team. We can't lose to this APAC team." Because they're gonna be nervous. That's for sure.
Yeah, our expectations have had to be tapered somewhat because Lewis, obviously, with his bad spawn points, stuck in Indonesia.
Exactly.
So we've had to taper it somewhat. I think mainly our main goal is just to sort of tighten our grip on the APAC region. Just use this as an opportunity to play higher level games and grind at a higher level, and get a better grip of the APAC region. I think that's the main goal, and then try and slip out the groups if we can, basically.
When you say tighten your grip, I want to give people some context here. You know, Johnny talked about going back to earlier on in the split. Like, with the greatest respect to you guys, this is coming from Elevate. They saw you guys as number 3. Like, Detonator, if anyone, are going to challenge them. You guys are sort of the number 3 team, coming in. And all of a sudden, you've leapfrogged, and now you're the number 1. Like, what? Firstly, where did you guys see yourselves in the region at the start? And now, do you guys see yourselves as number 1 or, as Marky said, holding that number 1 spot?
I think it's different for every individual. What we think.
Yeah, I don't know. Like right now, I'd say we're like first by a hair. So like I think we are probably. I would say we're maybe slightly better than Elevate, but it's that close that any game we go into is a bit of a coin flip. But before I came in, like when I saw Max, especially Max, and when I saw these 3 playing together, I would have said they were definitely stronger as players than Detonate. At the very least, I did think at the time we were behind Elevate and they would take some time to jump over Elevate. But I definitely, when I came in, I was like, if we fix the mental, they'll easily be second. They're better than Detonator. It was just whether or not we could put enough work and time to beat Elevate, and I guess we did.
There are 2 APAC teams at the World's wildcard automatically, so it's been competing for 1 spot all season for the majors. When it comes to World's wildcard, it's 2. Is that the main goal, to just be top 2? Because Elevate are still going to probably be ahead on points at the end of this split. So I mean, there's still a chance if you make it to the spring major as well, you're going to be number 1. But like, is World's wildcard the main goal, or is it like 1 step at a time? Let's get. Or how big is making first seed for the win for the spring major as well?
I mean, we don't have any other goal but making like majors right now and making wildcard, and I don't think we're gonna accept like just second place all the time. And we saw this split.
Right.
We're second in the first regional, the second regional. And we're like, yeah, this is kind of dumb. We're always just permanently second. So we don't want to be second. We obviously want to aim for first.
Yeah, like this coming to NA is a very big opportunity. As weak as NA is, it's still a lot stronger than APAC. So coming here is like a great opportunity to strengthen, and hopefully because for players like, not so much for OSM, he obviously played in Europe, but for Max and LCT, a lot of the moves and plays that Elevate were making were just stuff they'd never seen before, never experienced before. But now that like Max, not Lewis obviously, but now that Max is like grinding ranked, he's seeing these moves that Elevate do like all the time. He's seeing them every game, and so he's going to pick up a bunch of habits. So when he goes back to play Elevate, he's going to be like, "This is a piece of piss. This is nothing." So, yeah.
So you kind of brought it up there as well, but since Lewis isn't there, since LCT isn't there, how has your guys practice been at all? Like, what are you guys doing without him there?
It's pretty much just OSM was grinding once for Fierce tournament. I've just been like smacking the shit out of twos pretty much with Marky sometimes.
Yeah, it's basically
Yeah.
being a twos boot camp. To be honest.
Hey,
Fortunately.
that's actually I kind
Still.
of think that's smart though, because a lot of people might be like, well, that doesn't make any sense. Surely you got to scrim threes, but actually, like, I think the main weakness for APAC and for SSA and like even for OCE to a lesser extent is like not being able to play a bunch of ranked on one of the highly populated servers. So just getting as much ranked in as possible on a highly populated server. That's like something that's more rare than actually, you guys, you can't scrim major teams when you're in APAC, but you can still scrim Elevate. If are you guys are scrimming Elevate?
No, so
no?
this
What's the
split-
situation?
so this split we decided, look, these guys are just like flying in and flying out. We're not going to give them the practice they want.
Well, hang on. I heard from them that you
Yeah.
guys were Max was sort of maybe not showing up to a couple scrims.
Well,
Oh,
no,
you guys
yeah.
got
So here's the
blacklisted.
thing. So here's the thing, right? I'll give you the sauce. We scrimmed against them, and then they left 30 minutes early. So we're like, these guys are just playing mind games.
Wait,
They were like-
when was this though? When was this in split one or what's
I
going
think
on
this
here?
was like the first regional in split 2.
First regional
so-
split two. This split.
Yeah, so like after that, we kind of just decided we're not gonna scrim them. Like, regardless what happens, like just refuse, because all they want is good practice. Because I mean, I don't know how many people know this, but they just fly in like to the region like a couple of days before the event, and then they leave again like a day after the event ends. So we didn't want to give them their practice.
Is that the case? I wasn't aware of that. I didn't know that I thought they were there
Yeah.
for the whole split. But I
Well,
mean, they
yeah,
have to
I mean,
currently live in. Well, two of them are. I think Virtuoso and Kami are in Taiwan, right? They're in Bangkok. At the moment.
No,
or not right now,
um,
but they were.
yeah, well, I mean,
there.
they were there for the split, but then like a day after, or like 2 days after, both Kami and Vert left back to
Well,
Europe.
once the split was over, once they were eliminated.
Well, yeah, but here's the thing, like,
But is there anything wrong with that though? I mean, I
Yeah,
just
so-
want to know
so
your
that's the
thoughts on
thing,
this. I
right?
think that's pretty normal to expect them to go, because what are they staying for if the split's already over? They want to go home. And,
Well, yeah,
get
so it's
proper
not against the
ranked practice
rules,
in
right?
EU.
Like we looked at the rules and we're like,
Uh-huh.
is this against the rules? Like, what is required? It turns out like when I moved, we asked a couple of the admins like what is required, and they basically said you have to have residence there to compete. So we're like, okay, we'll get residence. I'll live there. We'll compete. But then now we looked at the rules again, and it seems like it's not an issue. Just fly in and fly out of events. So, like, if like a top 16 EU team that's not making lands want to go to a region like South America or APAC or anything to make lands, they can just fly in for 4 weeks and fly back out. Which is, I think that's kind of troubling.
We talked about this when you guys heard about the NA bubble team that wanted to go to SSA. Did you?
Yeah.
I forget their names, but yeah, they were trying to go to SSA for like, I can't remember the split or like one event, one regional, and yeah, it's within the rules. They can do that within the rule set. Just go over to any region and play in one event. And we talked about that at length in one of the previous episodes about the problems that has with like, them coming in as a low seed team, possibly ruining one team who are fighting for top 2 in that region in round 1, ruining their, regional, and it can really disrupt the system. For just purely personal gain. So, we've talked about the drawbacks there, and they since then decided not to do that. But in the case of Elevate, that's the team you're discussing, they're going out for a whole split at a time, I believe. They're like staying from the start of a split till the end of a split, right? It's not like the way you say it from like they come out for events and they leave makes it sound, people might misunderstand that as like they're doing regional 1, going home, doing regional 2, leaving again.
But
But they're
that'd
staying
be
for the split, right?
unreasonable. Yeah, that'd be unreasonable because I mean, there's an event every 2 weeks, but yeah, they're coming out for every event, for every split. But they immediately leave and they don't scrim in the off season, and they don't scrim before the first regional.
Well,
I think that's where the issue comes in, and with the team like the team that wanted to go to SSA, I think the main issue with that is just that they're not there long term. They're not giving any long term practice. It's just kind of like a cash grab and then leaving. There's no reason to have that in this ecosystem.
once a split is usually done, a lot of teams don't scrim anyway. But the only difference
that's
here
pretty
is
normal, right?
one team's like flying home. Yeah, usually what ends up happening is the team combusts, and so they don't scrim because of that. But like,
Yeah, I think the issue mainly is just the fact that they have an advantage because of that, because they get individual practice in their own region. But we saw that as, at the end of the day, we saw that as a negative. It's like, why don't we just? But they can have their individual practice. Why don't we just stop them from getting team practice against us? Which is again the reason why we don't scrim them.
Yeah, if you guys choosing not to scrim any team is totally up to you. There's lots of teams, pretty much every team in RLCS in any region has like a list of teams, short or in some cases long, of teams that they don't scrim for whatever reasons. They just don't think that the other team's taking the game seriously enough. They don't think that the quality of the games is worth their time, or whatever other reason they have. Any team can make their own decisions on who they want to scrim. No one can really argue with them on that. The only thing that changes, or the only thing that I've heard that goes against that line of thinking is import talent like Elevate and import talent like teams moving over to NA, although that's kind of like a sideways move in terms of region strength, or even like upwards in terms of South American teams going there. A lot of people say those teams who enter an ecosystem should scrim to be a part of that community. You seem to agree with that. You think that they should be doing more? Elevate should be doing more? Is that what you think?
Well,
For the
I mean,
APAC community?
no. See, like again, that's the misconception. I don't have anything against what Elevate is doing. I think like the main issue is just there's no clear rule set on what you're allowed to do and what you're not allowed to do. So it's kind of like I technically could have just went in and out, which I don't want to. I want to live there, and I moved there for other reasons as well. But I think that's the main issue. Is there's no real clear rule set on what's allowed and what's not. With Elevate, though, I mean, yeah, I think the region would heavily benefit from them staying longer and getting that practice in for the other teams. I mean, if other people improve, we're going to improve as well, and they're going to improve as well.
I feel like that's, I mean, I could see some people thinking that, sure. I think there's a point there, but I think it's probably not even close to worth it for them to stay after they've been eliminated from major contention.
Yeah, I
think leaving immediately is by far the smartest thing for like mental health, physical health, like just personal life.
They don't get any team practice. Yeah, I mean individually, but as a team, they're not going to get any practice, and coming back into an split is going to be even harder for them because we're always together practicing individually and as a team, and if they don't have that, which is going to be a struggle for them. But honestly, we don't care what they do.
But they, if you look at the two situations where it's happened, right? One was the start of the season where they were still trying to set up where they're going to live, trying to get an org. They didn't get an org, so they obviously you're trying to let that happen, and then they move over, and then they did get an org, but that happened very late, and then they have to set up, where they're going to live there to move to Thailand. I feel like now for next split, they're not going to go over there a day before regional and then start practicing because they didn't make the major. I feel like you have to give them the benefit of the doubt that they're going to get over there a couple of weeks before and actually be scrimming because obviously they can't just waltz in and make the major. I think the first two situations in isolation both had their reasons as to why that they flew in and flew out. Obviously after the split, you're going to leave straight away, for at least a couple of weeks just to go back, see your family, when everyone's in the off season. But I can't see them flying in a day before this next split. Because you guys are the number one team.
Yeah,
now.
I mean that's entirely up to them. I mean we're just basing off of what they have done and what they haven't done. They had the chance of coming back earlier. They split. They had an org.
I don't think they did though. I don't think that's true because they had no PCs, so they couldn't go back early. Because I'm pretty sure that they had no PCs right up until the actual event itself. Though they didn't have their proper gaming PCs.
Yeah, they didn't bring them.
Yeah, so maybe they expected. I'm not 100% sure, but I imagine they expected to have proper gaming PCs with their new orgs house that they've been put in for this split. Clearly, that fell through. But if you don't have PCs, what's the reason? Well, you can't really go over there or early. I imagine, like you're saying, that they're going to go early this next time and have PCs ready. Because
sure, we can't know that though. We can't really know what the plan was at the end of the day. I mean. It's up to them.
But wouldn't you give them the benefit of the doubt and assume that they did want to have proper PCs and go over early? I wouldn't just assume. Clearly, they've sabotaged themselves. Why would they do that?
No, but they had their own responsibility of doing that. I mean, they could have brought their own PCs. I mean, it's very easy to get a monitor as well. So, I mean, at the end of the day, it does fall on them. Not only them, obviously the org as well. But they could have taken a lot.
Oh no, yeah, somebody dropped the ball. They've definitely beamed it, as Marky would say. They've absolutely beamed it, but. I don't think they self-sabotaged. I don't think they were trying to limit their own practice to flex on the region. I think they were kind of in a bad situation. But they
Yeah.
did still have the full chance to qualify for the major on their own terms with proper gaming PCs in Regional 3, and they didn't. They had 3 match points against you guys. You beat them, so fair enough. I think they if they were annoyed about Regional 1, they can't be annoyed about Regional 3 because that was on their own terms. They just lost. So I guess we'll see what happens next split.
Outcoached,
I think you're
would
right.
you say, Marky?
You what?
Did you outcoach them in that? That's what you're saying. That grand
Yeah,
final.
that's why I did. I outsmarted them, outcoached them. I just wanted it more than all 3 of them combined.
Do you have any strats then for the group of life in terms of coaching, or is it just practice?
No, we've got some strats, but they're secret strats. I'm not allowed to tell you. I'm not allowed to tell you because then if Elevate are listening, they'll counter it if they're smart enough, but they might not be. Who knows?
Oh, but no, like, what about specific, like your group? Obviously, what is it? It's Liquid. What's your group?
Oh
again?
right,
Ground Zero.
Secret.
Like,
Is it Ground
Ground
Zero?
Zero.
Can you
Yeah,
see-
Ground
Secret
Zero.
Ground Zero.
No,
and
Ground Zero.
It looks like the
Oh.
prep's going really well.
It's just a
What's our
two-spook
group?
camp.
So you don't have any
probably-
strats?
No, we'll probably employ a similar strat that we did to Elevate for Secret and Liquid. But it's a bit harder because they've obviously got like a lot more firepower than Elevate. So it'll sort of be. We'll try the same strat because it's sort of a similar play style, like very fast and very aggressive. So we'll try a similar counter, but it'll be a lot harder because they're a lot better, basically.
Have
So-
you guys scrimmed OCE at all in APAC? Because it's playable in some server, right?
Yeah, we
Yeah,
have.
yeah.
We have, but we get egoed by teams like Power, for example. so some of the-
Went well.
yeah, went well for them. But no, like we do scrim some of the top 6 teams. Which goes pretty well usually. I mean, it's 120 ping, but we make do with it. We're trying to get more scrims against Middle East teams on Middle East servers on 120 ping, which has been going all right. At least you want to hopefully get more of those kind of scrims, but we kind of decided that a bit late in the split.
Have you played Ground Zero, the team that you're facing at the Winter Major?
No.
Have you played them yet?
Oh.
Not with any
No.
of their lineups.
I mean, I think we played KCP in the first split, but I don't think. And that was super lucky on them. But no, I don't think anything else. No.
Yeah, you've got Kaka, Fiber, and Super Lucky, and
Yeah,
Winter
we
Ground Zero.
haven't scrimmed them. They've not scrimmed APAC. They scrimmed Elevate like once, and I think that was on stream. Yeah. That's about
Oh,
it,
it was
I
a
think.
stream scrim. Did they win?
Yeah, I think Super Lucky scrimmed. Yeah, Elevate kind of got destroyed.
Uh-huh.
As far as
That's
I
kind of
can
tough though. Under 20 ping.
With
you said?
ping.
Yeah,
That's
120
rough.
ping, but about that, yeah.
Very rough.
In terms of your, like, you know, Marky, you're talking about the strats, doing different strats. How have you guys as players then? Like, is this the first time you've had a coach or where you've, like, you know, massively changed your play style game to game, series to series? And how's that gone for you guys with Marky there?
Yeah, I've installed a culture of fear, so they don't want to speak out against me.
Yeah, we're gonna choose to sit in silence. No, obviously, like I've never had a coach before. Actually, I don't think like ever in threes. So it was a very different atmosphere for me. But in terms of what helped in this split, it was immense. It was mostly defensive situations that we needed help on because mechanically and offensively we're pretty solid, but in defense we had a lot of silly mistakes, and Marky came in and kind of cleaned that up very efficiently. It was very different from split 1 and 2. I think also the mentality was different. We were a lot more like determined and hungry for that first place win than first split. We were kind of more relaxed in a sense.
That culture of fear kicked in.
Yeah, well, there you go. Yeah, I only got to say positives.
Yeah.
Scared.
To be fair, our last coach was shit compared to Marky.
Whoa!
Okay,
You don't have to say that.
Oh my goodness.
He said that because I was the coach. You prick.
Oh. Oh, suddenly that's like acceptable.
Yeah, that makes a lot
more
more
sense.
sense now.
In the context. I
Hey,
thought
Marky
it was,
Marky got us to land at the same point I got this team to land last season. So okay, we're even so far. Marky has to step it up.
Yeah.
Really step
There
up
you
in
go.
there.
You said individually, you guys there, it's just more team stuff. But I have a quote from Johnnyboi playing threes with you the other day that Maxew was crap in that
was
threes
horrendous.
game. So
That's true.
But
That's
like,
true.
I'm not
I
gonna
want to
deny
give him
that.
some. I want to give him some copium though. I don't think that he was really focused on the game at all, or focused on trying to win the games at all. But we still accidentally won multiple games on USC servers. So yeah, I think he's got some very valid copium for his losing in
He also had to.
1500.
He also had to
threes.
carry Marky, which is that's a bit rough. It's hard to do.
You had to carry
Didn't
me as
Marky
well. So
beat Squishy though? Do you beat Squishy and Gimmick, Marky, in the twos game?
Yeah,
Talk us through that
fucking
experience.
absolutely slapped them.
I don't really know. I don't really know. They just didn't play very well. I don't know why I beat them. They didn't really do anything.
Okay.
They just sort of didn't do anything, and we won. I was like, okay, I did it.
Now, didn't you actually have some motivational words for your teammate? I believe you told me something you wrote in the chat to
I said
motivate your teammate to win.
Oh yeah, my teammate like missed the ball and then said like sorry in quick chat, and then I went and scored like 2 seconds later, and I said no worries, you do, and we'll beat these no names or something. that seemed to. I don't want to say the whole win was because of that one sentence, but.
But you do think that could have crushed Squishy and Gimmick's confidence?
Oh yeah,
Being called no names, yeah.
Absolutely, world champions just absolutely done in by one sentence.
How would you say the trash talk is in the US servers compared to EU servers, OSM and Marky, and compared to APAC servers, Max, and any other server you played on? What region like has the best trash talk?
Oh my god, NA trash talk is basically non-existent. Like we were very surprised actually. I think Marky mentioned it when we were playing the other day. NA is so much less toxic than Europe for some reason.
Yeah.
Europe is just so toxic, but NA it's surprising. Actually, most of the shit talk I've seen actually have come from South American players, which is surprising. But yeah, it's not much.
Yeah, the European like solo queuing on EU is just awful, just really bad for your physical and mental health. Honestly, most toxic place I've ever been is EU solo queue. It's awful. NA is lovely. Everyone in NA, well,
they're all very, they're quite chill. Yeah, they're just having a good time as far as I can see.
Yeah, not everyone obviously, but like it's mostly very relaxed in NA. See in EU, it's like 50-50 whether or not your teammate will try and find you and kill you. But in NA, it's like 1 in 5 maybe gets a little bit angry at you, and that's it. It's honestly it's night and day. It's totally different.
Have you noticed like a play style difference? I remember when I was going over, like EU feels different to NA. Like NA, everyone just gives everyone so much space, and it's just everyone go for air dribbles and solo plays. Whereas EU's like playing a 1v1v1v1. You know, like everyone's just on the ball at all times.
I like what Sam answered. I think he probably knows a bit better than me.
Wait, what was the question?
I said, have you noticed like a ranked style difference? Like NA gives so much space, and it's just like solo play, air dribble, everything. And
okay, yeah, I gotta say, NA2s is okay. I'm actually portraying Europe so badly right now. NA2s is just much more enjoyable. It's a lot more fast paced. It's a lot, again, as you said, a lot more space as well. So like, especially pro lobbies, it's just much more entertaining. Because like in EU, you'd get K'd up with kind of a flipper set, and that's a bit rough. You know?
Just pick out one person in his entire rank.
My bad.
Also, I'm pretty sure K'd up can flip reset. I've seen him flip reset. I think he can flip reset. I learned about the DOP shot recently. Apparently, that's the name that all French players are giving to like the I guess is it just chat? Help me out here. Is it like just a slow shot or what is it that everybody says? They start writing DOP shot a lot whenever there's like a slow goal from a French player. I think it's named after K-Dop. I believe this is what it means. I've been trying to learn from my Twitch chat. I've not really fully understood. Oh, it's to shoot without air roll. That kind of makes more sense. So it's shooting without air roll, no air roll shot. Thank you, Twitch chat. Yeah, that. So if you see somebody shooting without air roll, I guess it's a DOP shot. The K-Dop, no air roll shot. He's kind of a shooting specialist for his whole career though, so it might be he might be onto something. Might be onto something here. Max, what about APAC? We heard about EU, NA. What's the APAC ranked like? How long are the queues?
I mean, I probably couldn't tell you because there's just no games. Like, I remember there was this one time specifically. I was like 1301s in Asia, and it was let's say it was 10 p.m. at night, and I queued. I wanted to see if I would get a game, so I went to bed. I woke up the next morning and I was still queuing pretty much. So I was like, damn. So
Wait,
yeah,
all
no, I
night.
literally could not tell you. Yeah, I actually could not tell you how the. I mean, the Asia players are like, considered high level. There is, they're pretty chill. Like, there's nothing wrong with them, apart from like a couple, I guess. But yeah, ranked in terms of ranked, I have not a clue. It's just OC servers for like pretty much everyone who lives in Singapore, at least.
Yeah.
That makes sense. You're just playing
Yeah.
OCE as much as
Yeah.
possible.
Yeah.
He's a grinder. Max, you're always playing. You're
Yeah,
a ranked fiend.
Yeah, for the last 6 months, I've been playing a lot more.
And you've started to get CJ in your lobbies now. CJ's back in ranked, and he's enjoying it more than ever. He's never liked
Eating
ranked for
Max.
his entire pro career. Now he loves ranked. But he's retired.
Yeah.
What's
Love it.
how
What's it
hard
like
your matches
playing
against
CJ?
CJ got? Yeah, what's it like playing CJ in ranked? Has he improved since he retired, or what's your?
I don't know. I don't think I've really ever played him when he was like.
Oh yeah,
No.
Max. I think we did. Can
We
you not
played
remember
his
that?
game as 8. What do
No,
you mean?
yeah,
I beat him
I-
in 2s in a LAN.
Hey, CJ, calm down, buddy. I played on 300 ping on OC with Max, and I beat you in Kami on OC servers.
That's
I don't
true,
want to
that
hear
is
it,
You
man.
know what?
That doesn't
no,
count
I
though,
mean, he's
because
good.
when you're on the ball, like ping doesn't matter. Let's be honest, and that's all you did is just dribble.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No, but surely me and Sage are like positive in 2s if we get on each other's team. So
yeah. We're
Who's
up
better,
to
man? It's
3s.
me or CJ?
Oh come on!
I've got no comment.
What do you mean? There's
Oh,
no way
God.
this bloke he's like a dop shot every time he shoots. He doesn't know how to air roll.
That's the worst answer you could have given, Max.
Top shot works.
Yeah, that's actually fair. I wanted to ask you guys, how did you get Marky as a coach? Like, what's the backstory behind this setup? Like, Marky, were you putting the feelers out there, or did you get approached?
Yeah, a wee bit. Me and OSM went through a phase for a couple of months of just playing 2s post midnight, just having, not terrible 2 sessions, but not great 2 sessions. And then he was like, "Oh, I'm in APAC, like working with this team." And then I can't remember. I got dropped from guild, and then I just shot OSM a question like, "You guys looking for a coach or anything?" I'm just, a bit bored sitting around the house, nothing to do. And then he was like, "Oh yeah, like come and we'll have a trial. We'll hire you for a month, see how it goes." Smacked up Elevate, and now I'm permanently signed, I guess. Yeah, trial went pretty well, as well as it could possibly go.
Yeah, honestly, like we gave him a trial for this split. We were like, okay, we do think we need a coach to like really step up our gameplay. So we gave him a trial for this split, and yeah, it literally went perfectly. So he's now long term.
Obviously, Gladiators as well, helping you guys out. I don't know if is OSM the manager. You said we'll pay you for a month. Did you organise that, or was that like Gladiators saying they were keen on a coach?
It was kind of like me who said like, hey, let's give this a try, and I'll talk to the Gladiator owners and be like, hey, can we facilitate this? Make sure that he gets a trial and see how it goes. Give this split a go. And yeah, they gave the green light. They said, yeah, go for it. The split, it's worth it. See if you make major.
And we did.
Looks like it worked out.
Yeah, not for Elevate.
Well, yeah, looks like it worked out for you guys.
Yeah.
No, absolutely.
You guys brought up a bit ago how you wanted to make sure how Elevate doesn't get good practice against you guys. But if LCT was there with you guys right now, do you think you would get scrims versus the major teams, or do you think you guys would be gatekept a little bit?
There's been a couple of teams that have already asked us, but we've had to say like, no, you have to wait, because we don't have our third. So there's a couple of teams obviously, but I don't think. I mean, obviously it's to be expected that not like the top 4 probably of the best teams are probably gonna say no, yeah. But other RCS teams and NAs at the very least have said yeah.
Yeah, we'd definitely get egoed by some teams, but there's definitely been a few teams. A few teams have already asked, and I'm sure there's certain teams that would love to at least give us a go. Obviously we'd probably get egoed by like FaZe and
of course.
Your big teams, but I think if Lewis were here, we'd actually be getting unbelievable practice. But say love you.
You don't want to hop
at
in,
least
Marky? To play the Marky OSM Max trio against scrims?
Maybe I'm not
We'll
quite
see.
as good as Lewis, unfortunately.
I'm not exactly confident about that. Have you seen him threes? Oh.
No.
I did. I played him 3s the other day with Marky and Max. It was
yeah.
interesting, very interesting experience.
To be
I
fair,
think
Johnny,
we were
playing with you
brilliant.
is like playing with like a skill vampire. You just suck out all the competency of all your teammates.
Vampire. He's awesome.
Oh
You gotta be careful. I'm gonna fish out some screenshots of me carrying. I'm gonna expose
You
you
took
like you exposed
screenshots?
me.
Yeah, no, it's even worse that you
Screenshots,
said
yeah.
that's worse.
Screenshots.
Your receipts.
The fact that you
Nah,
have
actually-
the screenshots is worse than the
I do
screenshots
have
themselves.
screenshots, but I've got replays which I could get screenshots from, so I do have replays.
Johnny's next
That is-
video is his replay review of him carrying Marky in ranked.
I wouldn't do
Johnny's like,
Mark
"Actually, I don't
like
think I
that. I
have
wouldn't
that."
do that. I wouldn't do that. The only person I would do that to is T-Bates. I did carry T-Bates a couple times in US West with, he's got like 50 ping. Me and Yummy Cheeseman had 150. And somehow we're still finding ourselves on top of this scoreboard because T-Bates just doesn't know how to play with casters. He's all over the place.
I played with T-Bates yesterday. It was quite
Oh,
funny.
you did?
Yeah.
As teammates?
No, in twos. It was me. It was actually me and someone I don't think I've heard of. Me and a ranked warrior versus T-Bates and Karma, actually.
No
They were-
way. Well,
They were
lovely.
about I know. And they were about to win. They were like 4-1 up or something, and then T-Bates said, like, my teammate kept chasing T-Bates from behind and demoing him. And T-Bates was like, here, the chasing from behind's not working, buddy. You're gonna have to come up with something else. And then we immediately scored because my teammate demoed him from behind on the goal line, just immediately. And then I think, sorry, Karma, if you're watching, Karma scored. Karma whiffed an easy ball, gave me an open net, and then redirected my bad clear into the net and just absolutely threw the game for them. So we ended
So
up-
Wait,
you
it was
won.
2 own
You
goals?
It was
won.
good. It was. It wasn't 2 own goals. Sorry, it was a complete whiff to give me an open net and then an own goal.
Oh, okay.
Karma didn't do great. Karma kind of threw for her and T-Bates. It was an awful match. Awful. Just like the quality was really not good. But T-Bates lost, and that's all that matters.
T-Bates. He's been grinding. You can't be losing that T-Bates. What's going on? Like he's talking about how he's gonna like get back up to SSL and be in the pro lobbies, but
Not if he's losing.
he's losing to Marky, losing the Game and Gladiators coach. So, like, he needs to sort himself out.
Yeah. No.
I can't believe that. What a lobby. T-Bates and Karma against Markydooda and a ranked warrior. That's just like if you told me that's gonna happen because of Winter Major, I'd be like very surprised. But here we are. Karma throwing for content. Hope somebody saved that replay. I need to take a look, but
I really should have
That's the way
saved
to
it.
do it.
Actually, I really should have
No.
saved it. I don't think I did.
there's no way Karma or T-Bit saved that replay. So we're gonna need to find
There's
out.
no
If you
way
were the
Karma
ranked
saved it,
warrior,
that's for sure.
if you're listening to this and you're thinking to yourself, wait, that was me. I was the guy who demoed T-Bates from behind. I know I have that replay. Then send it to us at Shotcast. We'll review it live next episode. Maybe if it's
It's a
if
great
it's-
replay. If you've got that
it's just-
replay, whoever you are, please send it in. It's a very funny replay.
Send it. And this is sounding like I don't know what the equivalent show would be in your guys' countries at Marky. It sounds like you've been framed. We're like send your videos to us here, and we might play it on the
You
broadcast.
know what?
That'd be
It was
great.
the last game I played, so I bet I can find him. Oh, it was Bob. Yeah, it was Bob. I found him. So Bob, if you're
Bob.
watching, he's called it's B0B, and he's got Bob the Builder as his profile picture.
What?
I'm not joking. This is the guy. It's 100% the guy.
Let's see if I
So-
can move
This is
the
the guy
camera.
that beat T-Bates.
Wait, can this come up?
Wait,
Careful,
didn't
that's like a
No,
£1,000
never
camera.
mind, never mind.
Yeah,
We're
it's
not moving it.
expensive, man.
Anyway, you can picture it. Bob the Builder profile picture, B0B. If you have the replay of Karma and T-Bates just having an absolute shocker against us, please send it in because it's.
Wait, what? Why are chat saying Sunless? Does Sunless sometimes go by the alias Bob or Bob?
He
with a
sometimes
zero?
goes by Bob. Yeah.
Yeah,
No
he's an
way.
alias.
No, I
He's a
doubt- I
Bob
doubt it's
alias.
Sunless.
Yeah, but
I
it's
doubt it's
not.
not
It's
him.
not him.
If
No,
that
he
was
was
Sunless,
fanboying me. I doubt Sunless is fanboying me.
You
might be
know,
undercover.
I doubt Sunless is like, oh my god, it's Marky.
he may maybe he would be, to be honest. Like he's OG, so he might be like, what is Marky doing in my game? And yeah, just demo chase T-Bates. I could see that, to be honest. He might be making a video. See that?
But yeah. So Bob, Bob the Builder profile picture. Somebody, if it says somebody knows this man, please get him in touch to send in the replay if he has it.
Somebody knows a ranked warrior called Bob.
Bob the
He's,
Builder profile picture.
He has a replay that we'd much like to get our hands on. But okay,
Did
to bring
T-Bates
this-
not stream it?
No way. If he streamed that, that would be too
T-Bates
much.
streamed it in Discord. That's what Dirac was saying. He said he watched it live in Discord because T-Bates is streaming, but
Oh,
don't think it was
wow.
on a Twitch stream, sadly.
He was mauling at Bob demo chasing. That sounds incredible. I wish he was streaming that. I would watch that right now. Actually, just like pull it up. Watching the second monitor. Okay, to bring the conversation
Sorry,
back
I was
to
gonna say I
you
did look
guys.
up ball chasing as well. It's not there. So
You've looked.
That's what
Oh, that's
I was
some,
about to check Mark.
I looked, yeah.
same, bro.
that's a great effort. Honestly, well done. But Bob, one day he's gonna come through. Okay, so you guys, we talked a little bit about winter major. What's like if we're looking, past? Is the expectations or the target to get out of groups? Is that the target here, or is it to just win a game, do better than Elevate? Because they went 0-9 in games at the last event. You guys can do better than them if you go even one game win would be enough to be equal best APAC team ever. I think who won a game like winter major last season.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, I think we're all kind of split on what our expectations are. But at the end of the day, our goal is to get out of groups. Obviously, with that, you kind of win the games. But we know that we have the potential. We were the first APAC team to get a win at a LAN, which was Gamers 8. But now, for this regional, we're just hoping to get out of groups and obviously do better than Elevate. I think going 9-0 would be 0-9 would be really disappointing. That's obviously the worst thing that can happen.
Mm. But who did you beat at Gamers 8 again? It was like the NA fourth team.
Not
or
me.
something.
Hey, you got lucky, man. I don't want to hear it. Yeah, we beat all mid, which was
all mid.
That's
They got
someone
carried into qualifying by Chronic in 1v1, and then they didn't bring Chronic, so they lost at the actual event.
Oh, I didn't know
he
that.
was just a stand-in for the qualifiers. Apparently, I spoke to Fitz, and apparently Chronic was never meant to go at all, but they were
That's
short
correct,
for the qualifiers, so he only played the qualifiers.
I don't think they were short for the qualifiers. I'm pretty sure they had 4 players in the qualifier, if I remember
No,
correctly.
I think the third couldn't play the qualifiers. That's why Chronic.
I'm looking it up right now. I need to know.
Go
Gamers
for
8,
it.
20.
I wouldn't really know.
I swear, chat. Can anyone confirm? I swear that they had 4 players for the qualifier, and then Chronic just. I think you're right. He was never meant to go.
Yeah, so
all mid.
GC in the chat said Angel wasn't going to play originally, but he ended up being able to. So I think that's what happened. Yeah.
Yeah, Angel was there. They played 3v3 with their main team. Chronic did the 1v1s and also the 2v2s, and they did really well. They beat a bunch of good teams to qualify, but then obviously at the event itself, they didn't have their ones main anymore, and also Chronic turned out to be pretty good. So having him would have probably helped. He turned out to be actually a decent player. A big win. That's actually a good win, even without Chronic. You beat Angel, Kiri, and Flitz. Were 3 NA bubble players.
Yeah.
I actually rate them. I think Angel and Flitz, especially at times, have been very close.
I mean,
Kiri's
that was
right there as
special.
well.
That was special for us because we had never played together as a threes team before that event. We came, showed up. We had a couple of days to practice, and that was it. That was the first time we played together, and that's kind of what made us decide, hey, this could work out long term. So yeah, now we're here, and we're hopefully going to do even better than the Gamers 8 result.
Is that what inspired you, OSM, to go back to being? You're trying to be a pro player?
Dude, yeah, playing on stage, being in Saudi, that atmosphere, it was incredible. Just thinking back to it, being there, I knew at London. I told the team, I told everyone, hey, I'm only gonna do this season as a coach, and I'm gonna do something else. I don't know what it is. And then at Gamers 8, I really made the decision, yeah, this is for me. This is what I want to do.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like that format as well caters to you. You got to play your ones as well. So I think that helped you guys in that respect.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I mean, we have to say we were extremely disappointed that we didn't beat Renegades. I think that was a bit of honestly, we consider that a bit of an upset from Renegades, but
well, you won the ones, didn't you? You beat Fever in the 1v1.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Couldn't
get him in 2s.
Couldn't beat CJ in 2s.
Yeah, the 2s game, I locked it down, but you get that. You guys can't win them all. But having said that, now you're off to the major. In terms of world champs, stuff like that, I know Marky said you want to just get a stranglehold on APAC. You're in a good spot for worlds for top 2. Do you where's your goal right now? Is it just is it world champs, or is it let's lock in for this one and make sure we make the next major as well? Do you want to be number 1?
Again, this is all, we all have different opinions. I think Max would have different opinions to me. Marky as well would have different opinions. I think Marky is the more sensible one. He's just okay, let's go for the safe option. Let's go let's just try and lock down APAC.
Brutalize Elevate.
Yeah.
I just want to crush them every time. make them go look for Airbnbs in Africa or something.
No.
That's all I want. That'll do for me.
That
Yeah.
doesn't sound like the safe option at all, or the OSM was describing actually.
No, I mean, yeah, he just wants to focus on APAC, but for me, like getting first place, obviously the first step, make it majors, but that's not where I want to stop. Like, I don't want to be like in a team that just gets last place in majors. Even if we qualify, like that's not enough for me. So obviously we're hoping to get out of groups and at wildcard, hoping to get out of wildcard as well. Obviously, it's very hopeful for a region that's never won in RCS, but you know that's obviously the goal.
You mentioned earlier that moving to APAC wasn't just for Rocket League for you. So what explain that process? Right. Was moving to APAC, moving to Asia, all about for you outside of Rocket League?
Yeah, so I mean, at the start of the year in 2022, let me first that. I realized like I love Iceland. It's my home country, and I love it to bits. But at this stage of my life, I don't want to be just stuck on a little island doing
freezing.
Nothing, Yeah, freezing is. There's not much to do. It's cold. It's really expensive. Like even like as an independent creator and whatnot, like it's hard to just get by. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna move somewhere, and I looked to Europe, and I was like, this is someday I'll move somewhere in Europe, but this is not for me. I looked to like Canada and whatnot. I was like, okay, this is the second option. Then I realized like, hey, Asia, this is the perfect spot. It's cheap, it's warm, it's a different culture, different atmosphere, even like different religious beliefs, everything. So I was like, yeah, this is the perfect move for me. Later in my life, I want to go somewhere more stable. I don't know, maybe I'll be in Australia for a little bit, but for now, I want to do something really different. Basically, the polar opposite of Iceland.
Yeah, that's not. Cool, I can see that. Indonesia being very different from Iceland. They can't.
Oh yeah.
There can't be many similarities there.
No,
surely.
not at all.
Will that be followed by Rocket League, like your moves? If it's Australia, you want to like compete in OCE, or is it Marky's talking about Elevate booking Airbnbs in Africa? Is it? Could you move to maybe your next is go to South Africa, and then you go to SSA?
Hell no. Yeah, there's no chance. I mean, for one, I like South Africa. I like South Africans as well, but it's just not safe enough, and it's not where I want to be. Again, with Australia, like, yeah, Rocket League might follow there. I might try something there, but I don't even know if that's something I would pursue. I think, if anything, I'd probably go directly from Indonesia to something like Canada.
And Max, you said you moved to Singapore at 15. I'm guessing that was with your family. What were you up to in Singapore apart from Rocket League right now?
I'm still studying, so if I'm not playing Rocket League, it's all just school. Pretty much, and before this year started, it was a lot of time was dedicated to school, so I didn't really have a lot of time to play, which probably caused a lot of the team issues before Marky came in. So
sounds like when you say probably, you mean definitely.
Like I like to play. Like probably one of the main problems was like me having maybe 10 hours in the past 2 weeks for the first regional.
I wouldn't say school was the only.
Yeah, when you say school, do you mean clubbing and social life, or do you mean
work? I mean, like it's just a bit of everything, I guess. But yeah, no. Ever since we did like god awful, we got like top 8 once, and I think that was it for me. I was like, yeah, there's just no way we're a top 8 team. So, I started focusing a lot more on Rocket League and got my hours up, and then so I was pretty good that we made the major as soon as I started grinding.
Yeah, 10 hours past 2s. That's pushing the limit. Maybe
that's pretty low.
Yeah, that would be pretty low.
Of how low the hours can go. Studying, studying the walls and the inside of the club toilet, like all kinds of studying going on there at the start of the split. But that's cool. What are you studying, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm doing law.
Teammates.
Yeah, so a lot of time goes into that sometimes.
Yeah, I can see that.
But now I'm on school break for like a couple months, so we're chilling for now at least.
So we need to see you. Yeah, we do need to see you debate T-Bates, who's also studying law. We can
yeah,
have a little court case. We need to have
probably a different type of law, but like.
Isn't T-Bates also like 7 years older than Max? I don't know about that, man.
I told you. Wait,
How
I don't
old
know how
is
old Bates
T-Bates?
is. He must be like 23 or something, or 24. I don't know. Actually, maybe someone in chat knows. We could look it up.
Surely he's
but
got a Wikipedia here. Let's have a look.
he must have a Wikipedia. T-Bates. Let's give him a search.
Let's pull it up.
24. He just turned 24 last month.
99. He's
He's
a baby.
old.
What?
He's old.
What?
We need to stop this he's old nonsense. Like, this is just getting out of control.
Yeah,
Look at all these.
Boomer.
I'm glad Johnny's
Imagine
here to
being-
like take over for me on that old thing. Because usually I get
Just-
called old, but when Johnny's in the call, I feel okay.
Yeah, listen, all I'm saying is, imagine being 22 or younger. You've only lived in one century. You've only lived in one millennium. That's cringe. Like, you need to be older. I'm sorry.
True.
Bro, us non-millennials.
Yeah, you tell him.
Oldies.
Hey, double century, double millennium. Just saying, we've done that. You can't get the millennium. The century's within reach, but yeah, you're gonna have to work hard for that one. Millennium, not happening.
Yeah,
Sorry, guys, you
that
missed
whole,
it.
Yeah,
Literally
you take
missed
a
it.
W.
That whole pro thing you guys are doing, we already been there. Well, maybe not Johnny, but like me and CJ,
No,
we already
never.
been there. We already been there,
Never
done that.
been a
It's all
pro.
over, yeah. So
Yeah,
like,
I would
you
say-
guys, you guys
20
enjoy
though.
it while you're young. It's all good.
I'm on the right side of 20 for a few more months, thank you.
A few more months. I'm sorry.
Maybe not Rizzo though. He's a year older. He's on the other way.
Turning the big old 2-6 here soon, couple months.
Someone did
Third
say,
year.
chat though. Someone said, "Is our combined age of the hosts of Chalk 90?" And now
No,
they're
it's
pushing
no
it. All right,
way.
that's disrespectful. That is disrespectful.
You guys are 25 and 26, or 24 and 25. I can't
24,
remember.
25.
24, 25. Oh, we're not even close to 90. Plus, like, I'm doing a lot of like, I've contributed a lot to that.
Yeah, it's not close.
I've done more than my fair share, but we're still only 81. We're not even close to 100. We're good.
Don't worry, Marky can join this topic. He's old as hell as well.
Yeah, I'm older than Rizzo. I'm 27.
Oh my, that's
What a
bad.
boomer!
Yeah, he's old.
I
bro.
know.
That's rough. I'm
Back
sorry.
hurts. That's okay.
Actually-
it's not your
Actually,
That's
no, your
not too
back's.
bad.
I've always remembered since the day I met you, or like maybe not the day, but since early on knowing you, you always complained about back pain. So that's not an age thing.
fault. Yeah, no, that's
like
not an age
something
thing.
else.
That's a Marky thing. I was born wonky or something. I don't know.
When we're both in San Diego, we can both go to like a chiropractor together or something. Just
Yeah.
like just the two of us, just for fun.
just for funsies. Just for fun.
I think that's
Go
what old
play-
people do.
Go play lawn bowls or
for sure.
something.
Yeah. Big
It's
door bridge. I actually used to play
play
bridge a
big
little
door.
bit. Well, I knew how to play bridge. I played it a tiny bit. Kind of forgotten now. But we should become bridge players, Rizzo.
Lawn bowls is good.
I'm
Hey,
down.
lawn bowls is actually very
Don't
fun. I'm
hate
not
on
gonna
it.
lie. I played it one time. It was very fun, but it is a very old people sport.
Too much
Nonetheless.
bending
Why-
down on law balls. It looks bad for you.
True. Maybe that's where your bad back came from. Too much lawn bowls. when you were younger.
No, not enough lawn bowls. Surely that would strengthen your back if you're working the lower back
Oh.
in lawn bowls.
Does anyone in chat know the
lower back.
optimal amount of lawn balls to play? Back height?
For
Isn't
back
lawn
pain.
bowls the most like the deadliest sport in the world because it's got the most heart attacks and stuff? 'Cause of- I think it is. If you Google, I think lawn
There's
bowls
no
has had
way.
more fatalities than any other sport in the world.
Shut up.
Like,
There's
It's
just
not.
no
I'm
way
not
that's
kidding.
true.
I remember it was in like the Guinness World Book of Records or something. I remember reading.
Yeah,
it as
that's
a
what
kid.
Google's saying too. Due to its high death rate amongst participants, it's more to do with the demographic of bowlers rather than the sport itself.
They just throw the arm over and then collapse.
The people playing it are so old that there's a high death rate because they're physically
What
exerting
is
themselves.
long balls? Oh my god!
It's not long. It's lawn. Lawn. LAWN
Lawn.
bowls. Like a bowl.
Lawn bowl.
Lawn
Wait, did you
bowls.
Google long balls, CJ? What did you...
No, someone in chat might have done those. Someone in chat might have hit that Google search.
What is
See
a
if they
long
can
bowl?
find out what we're talking about.
I
Speaking
feel
of
way
younger
too young
sports,
for this
though,
conversation. What is this?
that's what I'm saying. Rocket League, we got to go the young. The Rocket League is just becoming a younger and younger sport. We used to back in the day, when me and Rizzo were kicking goals. We weren't the oldest, but everyone around was sort of like 17 was young, even sort of 18 was young. There was 25, 26 was sort of, I wouldn't say it was normal, but you weren't like, wow, look at that old person. But now, as you said, you've got two two of you blokes are in the top 10 oldest players at the major, and you're like 19, 20. Like that's ridiculous. So what's going on with this esport?
I think it's got to be like, I reckon it's just about the time. I think as time goes on, it'll stop happening. Like, do you guys ever see Daniel like falling off mechanically? I don't. I think he's going to be mechanical when he's in his 20s.
I mean, at the end of the day, like the age is only going to continue going higher from this point onwards. Like,
I think so.
Like the average age in pro Rocket League isn't it about 18? Like already? Like it's just you see a lot of these young players like 16, 17 that are making lands at the moment. But it'll only, the age will only keep going higher. I don't see many of these players falling off as they age.
Yeah, there's just no other game like Rocket League. So other games, if a new shooter comes out, immediately there will be like a bunch of pros trying it out, pros in other games trying it out, getting really good fast because they played a very similar game. Kind of like how all the SARP vets used to be the best when Rocket League came out. The very small predecessor of Rocket League was similar enough that even though it was also quite different. Only like played it once, I was like, this is unplayable. But yeah, it was similar enough that the people who did play it were immediately the best players in Rocket League. So that's kind of like why other games have older. I think at least why other games have older like pros, because they've like played a similar game when they were a teenager and got all that practice in. Whereas in Rocket League, like a lot of people who like were already in their late teens, early 20s when Rocket League launched, they had never played any game like this. So like they missed out on those early years in their life just learning how to flip reset without even thinking about it. Like all these kids growing up, they just like they can just they see something and they're like, oh cool, yeah, I can do that, because that's how the brain works when you're younger. It just learns faster.
I think there's a huge misconception, I feel like, amongst our like Rocket League pros and just the community in general. It's like you don't lose your ability to play as you get older. You just have a harder time practicing the newer stuff. Like it's harder to get it down as fast as others. But you don't lose your ability to play. I mean, it's just your choice as you get older. Like you have different things in life that you want to do, different aspirations, and that's why people retire so like young in sense in Rocket League compared to other esports.
I think as well, we're like, it feels like we're close to the skill ceiling in terms of where we're now sort of just bound by the size of the map, how much boost you have, the dimensions. Like it feels like now, I don't know. We always say this, what's going to happen from here, and then we find something. But how many flip resets can you hit? Like it feels like now we're bound by having 100 boost and like how big the field is and how much space you've got. So yeah, I feel like we're not going to see another like golden age where these youngsters just come in and just take over. But having said that, Counter-Strike and those other games are a bit different in that Rocket League's so reactionary and fast-paced, whereas Counter-Strike, if you have good map knowledge and game awareness and you just hold your mouse at the corner, they're going to peak or something like that. Whereas Rocket League, it's very reactionary, skill-based. You got to be fast and you've got to be on. Like you need to be practicing and you need to be, like if you stop playing for a couple months, you're not going to be as snappy with like wall reads and stuff like that. So I just feel like it's a different game where you need to be always putting in the hours and you can't just pick it up like 5 years later and be just as good as you were. Like
at the end of the day, it's just not bound by age. It's just bound by time. I think that's the main point.
Well, I would say though that I think getting games in when you're much younger is helpful though, because you just learn a lot faster.
Yeah,
surely.
Yeah,
like anything, you don't
lose that ability.
Oh well, yeah, you don't deteriorate as much as you would in like a real sport. If you're like out of a real sport, you're physically deteriorating and you're also like losing a bit of muscle memory maybe as well. Whereas Rocket League, you're just losing muscle memory. I have to like relearn some things, but it will it does come back pretty quick. So I kind of agree that the age will go up over time because some players are just going to be evergreen. They're just never going to fall off, I think. But wait, CJ, you said you think we're close to the skill ceiling. Yeah, the map is definitely limiting like how many strategies are viable in threes. That I agree with. I don't think we're close to the skill ceiling though. I think like pre-jump plays, nowhere near skill ceiling on those. Pinches, nowhere near skill ceiling on pinches.
That's true.
Like I think there's like certain aspects that they're like barely scratching the surface of what's possible. And like on the ball mechanics, of course, very obviously could improve for a lot of the scene. Some players look like they're close to skill ceiling, but maybe that's just because we don't know where the ceiling is. Like players like Zen, we watch him play like, what is this? How is he doing this? But then in the future, maybe like 2 years from now, we'll be like, yeah, that's everybody. Maybe that's every pro. Maybe Zen right now is every single player in the league in 2 years. That's kind of how the game's progressed.
Yeah, so I don't want to be like a freestyle merchant here, but like a lot of the mechanics that become viable later on in 3s and even 2s and 1s, like people have seen like in freestyling for many, many years. I mean, even just for example, the pogo. I see so many people go for that in 1s now, and it's very viable. That's been around since like 2017, like really popular. But only now it's been like making use here. Like some mechanic, like I don't know, the ceiling shuffle, for example. I have no clue how many people know about that. Like the more people get consistent at that, the more viable it will become later down in the pro scene. It's just that like the skill ceiling in terms of mechanics is never ending. You will not see that for so many years. Like until the game dies, pretty much nobody will find all the mechanics, and even mechanics that are viable for us. Yes, it's impossible.
I think like another one is like a psycho or like the sidewall doubles, like where they're just shooting it from midfield. Like only a few players have gotten pretty consistent with those, but even then, I feel like those are going to be like pretty common shots eventually. Like it's going to get to that point where everybody's kind of nailing them.
Yeah, freestyling often gives a look at what's coming in the future when like recovery mechanics or mechanics get to a level where it's now safe to do that or viable to even do that in competitive. Like Dark is by far the best player at pogoing right now, but he's pretty much the only one who can do that in 1v1 without it being kind of a risk. I know Zen scores quite a lot of them as well, but he scores a lot of like pogo shots. He doesn't actually pogo and then start air dribbling again. Dark's the only guy who can like actually pogo at world class 1's level and then be air dribbling at the end of it. No one else has been able to learn how to consistently do that enough for it to even be viable, because the bounce is so hard when you're playing against a pro player and you need to like disguise the fact that you're doing it right up until the last second. Like in freestyling, of course, you can just do it for free because no one is going to challenge you, so you can just bounce wherever you want with no deception at all. Whatever is the easiest way, you could just do it. But the way Dark does it is fascinating to me because he makes it very, very like apparently Jack explained it in a cast that I did with him recently as like the angles that are possible at any point during a play. This applies to 3v3 as well. So if somebody's air dribbling with a flip reset available, like they've got their flip, you have to cover multiple angles because they could be faking or they could be flip resetting. They could be flipping into the ball. So that's two angles that they're threatening. But like the way Dark does it is he'll have a flip, so he's threatening the flip reset shot, obviously. He's also threatening the fake, but he's also threatening the pogo because he could just bounce when he hits the ground, and now he's in the air again. So there's so many angles you have to cover when you play him, and that's crazy to think about because he could be floor pinching, he could be like turtle shooting, he could be doing anything. Like, how do you cover all those angles? The answer is right now you don't. Like, no one is capable of defending that package at the moment. That's why everybody who plays him just ball chases.
I'd like to see Marky against him.
Marky against Dark. I'd love to see that.
He's got the defense on lockdown.
Marky against Darky.
Yeah. Let's do that on Stadium though, or some stupid map, please.
On Stadium.
Oh my god!
I'll score a kickoff goal and I'll dribble the ball around the back for the whole game.
That Stadium. So that's actually got some history because Marky, he played against a lot when a lot was still a pro player. Marky was retired. He played against a lot in Salt Mine Underground in a stadium 1v1. Marky said, let's do it in a stadium. A lot said, I don't care what the map is, I'm going to destroy you. And the Marky did win. So actually the stadium call, I think you 3-1'd him or 3-0'd him as well. It was like, it wasn't a fight.
No, I think it was 3-2. But the game 5, but the game 5, he didn't have the nerve to take me on. The game 5 was quite one-sided. He just didn't, I'm built different.
What is it about Stadium? Why is it a good map for you? What's the deal?
I don't know. Well, for me, it meant that like he was obviously way better in the air than me. But it just meant like if we played on Urban or something, he would just ping off the backboard and score, and like score an aerial. Just he would just double touch off the back, but he would just destroy me in the air. But Stadium, there was a lot less opportunity for him to bully me in the air, and a lot more opportunity to just play like stupid, scrappy, ugly Rocket League, which I maybe had a slight advantage on him over.
So it's a grounded merchant map.
Plus, I played it a lot on SARP, so there was still some strats from SARP that I remembered that you could sort of, like for instance, like you could, like especially if you were dribbling the ball around your own net, a lot of players like they would go and see corner boost and they wouldn't realize that the goal's kind of in the way to cut their like rotation back to net off sometimes. So like, there's a lot of situations where I realized if he goes for boost here, he's gonna just actually not be able to get back without realizing. And then so a lot of my goals were just like him making silly mistakes and deep in my half, and then me just like running down the pitch with the ball going.
That's amazing. I need to watch that one back if anyone wants to see it. Yeah, you're right. It was game 5. You've remembered it correctly. Markydooda versus a lot. Probably the only stadium match that's ever been played for money. The only stadium show match in Rocket League history. It's not seen a lot of play. Which we weren't going to talk about this, but I think that we have to kind of bring it up because we're talking about stadium. Like, what do you guys think on different maps in Rocket League? Should different maps be like used in esports?
Non-standard maps?
Non-standard maps, or
I've always thought they should.
Size maps.
I've been upset about this ever since they said they weren't going to do it, so I'll just stay out of this. I've always thought they should.
There's so many more things they can do to make things spicier than make non-standard maps a thing. But I mean, it would be interesting. It'd be interesting for a trial tournament, obviously. But I don't think it would up the quality of the games at all.
Yeah, I think it would. There's just a lot of different. You'd see a lot of different moves. Like imagine coming off the ramps in Neo Tokyo and getting redirects off the ramps in Neo Tokyo, using the ramps for old school Neo Tokyo. I mean, using the ramps for dribbles. There's some shite maps. I don't think I'd want to see pro play on Utopia or something in the big circle, but I think there's plenty of it. In a decent different map, there'd be plenty of. It would just be totally new. It would be totally new. It'd be so interesting. There'd be plenty of strats and moves that you could pull with extra little lumps on the map to exploit. I just think they really messed up by not.
Yeah, you just know that they would make the worst maps ever, though. I mean, nobody wants to play on the old Wasteland map. There's no extra, there's no special thing about the old Wasteland map, for example.
I do think the old Wasteland map was a pretty bad one. Yeah.
The problem is that even the regular maps right now, people are putting up videos. Some of the bounces are still bad. The physics aren't matched up. So if you make a random or even the old Neo Tokyo, I think it's called Underpass now, isn't it, with the ramps?
Yeah.
You could just get some shoddy bounce, and I don't think it's good enough in a professional competitive play when we're playing for millions of dollars to have random a ball just bobble randomly on a flat surface, you know what I mean? I feel like we're probably not at that point, at least with this version of Rocket League. Maybe Unreal Engine, the next one will fix it.
We'd be at that point by now if they'd just not was out of doing it.
True.
Years ago. They'd have fixed it by now.
Did you Marky, did you like the Wasteland and the old Neo Tokyo when you played in those in RLCS at one point, or maybe was it in RLCS or was it just in pre-RLCS tournaments?
No, there was some RLCS games on Wasteland.
Yeah, there were, right?
Back then they got a big backlash because everyone was tragic at Rocket League back then. And, they could barely do anything anyway back then. And then once you started adding extra lumps to the map, everyone freaked out. It was like, oh, I can't hit the ball anymore, so the map is at fault, not me. And then they got rid of the maps. I mean, to be fair, Wasteland was a bit trash, to be fair. But
I think the reason that they would have gone for Wasteland is because it was most they probably had a bunch of map ideas, and this one was the closest to the actual Rocket League map. So they're like, let's just put that in, see how it goes.
If you remember Wasteland, the edges were sloped up, so it meant a lot of aerial balls. You were quicker to the aerial balls from the sloped up edges than if you were in the middle. So that was kind of interesting, but it wasn't. It was just a bit weird. It wasn't interesting enough, and plus already. The curve physics when you're how sometimes when you're going up the wall it swallows your jump if you're on a curve.
Yeah.
So that was already
inertia.
They were already pretty dodgy there, and Wasteland just exacerbated that problem a lot more. But old Underpass, I always thought was,
Tokyo Underpass. You like that one?
Yeah, that was quite fun. And some of the start maps are quite good, but oh well.
Do you think though is it non-standard maps or what I think would be more even better? I think the worst thing they did was make all the hitboxes the same, all the car speeds, turning radius the same. What if we had real small cars but they were faster than other cars? Or we had the big tanks that would more likely demo or had a bigger hitbox. You standardized every car basically to be Octane or Dominus hitbox or the long whatever they call that one, the plank, but. why don't we get different attributes for the cars? Like, let's
I would
see
love that,
some different styles get in. Let's get some cars that are faster than the others, but they have weaker, or smaller hitboxes.
Weaker shots or something, like they just don't hit the ball as hard.
Naturally worse because it's smaller or something. Do you know what I mean?
Dude,
Like-
I would absolutely love something like
for
that.
pro play?
How cool would that be? Yeah, for
Well,
pro
maybe not.
players.
For
Obviously not- obviously
everything,
not
just
like-
throw it in the
you would-
game.
You wouldn't throw it in RLCS, but like obviously, like as a game, I'd love to play that and see like how does the fast car that hits the ball more slowly play? How does the slow car that absolutely booms the ball play? Like that, I want to play that car.
So yeah,
So
game mode like
yeah.
that would have been fun, yeah. But in pro play, that's like the best way to kill the esports scene. You'd have some broken meta, like I don't know.
Yeah,
it'd be
then-
really
But if
risky.
everyone's using it, it's fine.
Then they just, if ever
Well-
use it, but also they would just patch it if it's actually truly
It's
broken.
like any other game, yeah.
Yeah.
Like
Well,
League,
yeah,
a
they would
new
patch
champ
it.
comes out, they patch it.
Yeah, they
Well, you
release
tr-
an
you
OP
trust him-
champ, and then they sell a skin on the OP champ, and then they nerf the champ, and then your skin's
Yeah.
useless. That's what they do.
Well, you trust Zynex to do
Exactly.
consistent, fast updates. That's a bit.
If they're adding,
don't know
adding different stuff like that, I would trust them. Yeah, but at the moment, no.
Yeah.
But yeah,
Let
they
me
don't even
see.
have. I mean, that's not even a thing right now. Like changing car, like there'll be a new thing, so we can't really judge how they would do it because they haven't done it. Like updating car hitboxes or turning circles or speeds. Like it could be as simple as this car can hold more boost. Like it doesn't have to be completely different. It could be like this car can hold 120 boosts. This car can have 150. This car can only have 90. It could be things like this. Slightly faster turning circles. Hitting the ball.
It's in the game already,
small
like,
bit harder. No, it doesn't have to be like
speed.
night and
stuff
day.
like
It
that.
could just be like, small changes to how fast the car hits the ball. Like maybe there's like a larger, maybe if you like hit a car at not even supersonic speed, just like slightly below, you can demo a weaker car. Like there could be just strengths and weaknesses. It would be interesting, I think, to explore. We need Lethimer to get on this. Why hasn't he done it already, Lethimer? We're giving him
I'm sure
multiple videos for
he
free.
already has done something like
He
that.
probably has. He probably has.
He's done everything, man.
A 3-jump car. Oh yeah, a car that can triple jump or double jump and then flip. Incredible.
Yeah.
That would be kind of broken.
A car with an infinite flip at all times.
Yeah, and then what would actually happen is they'd add all these different cars to the game, and everybody would still play the Octane, the normal car. Like nobody would care.
Oh, yeah.
Probably.
You might find something else. I just think it'd be interesting, like people shifting the meta to different things. Like we've seen it with demo meta, with everything really, solo play meta, with mechanics meta, which is sort of where we're at right now. But I feel like it'd shift, and I think it'd be pretty cool to see like buffs and nerfs and stuff, and people trying out. It just keep it a bit more fresh. But
Did we just
I think things
remove
are-
air roll from the Fennec? Like Fennec can't air roll anymore. If you're playing Fennec, you can't air roll. Like
The
I
air
think
buff.
this is a great idea.
I think the metas are changing fast enough as it is, though. Don't you think? Like, I mean, things
For
are
threes?
basically changing. Yeah, I mean, things are basically changing each season. Like the demo meta, like was destroying everyone last season, but now it's basically dead. Like nobody really uses it that effectively. Like things are moving super fast, but people don't really realize that because, well, I mean, there's three.
I would say-
three
I would-
majors
I
in
would-
the split.
I would argue there's been almost no real playstyle changes that are significant in the open era since BDS established what they do. I think everybody's gravitating towards what they did slowly. There's not really been any other like additions.
What
Just
did
mechanics to improve.
BDS do to you? Or what do you feel
Well,
like they did?
So my understanding of this, a lot of people talk about NA playstyle versus EU playstyle, and this gets people really angry because people don't like when you talk about NA versus EU. But during the pandemic, NA and EU went their separate ways for a year, for 18 months or something, 20 months. They didn't really play each other. And at that time, NRG were the best team in NA, BDS were the best team in EU. Therefore, all the EU teams copied BDS, all the NA teams copied NRG. NRG kind of rotated very cleanly. They gave each other a lot of space. They're always moving super fast. They're always 100 boost. They're booming the ball around. They're very clean, very aesthetic Rocket League, very like mechanical. BDS were just like, the complete opposite. They were like very close to the ball, putting maximum pressure on the other team, using a lot more tight-knit team plays rather than like long-distance team plays. And yeah, turned out when we came back together again after the pandemic, that what BDS did actually worked better in my opinion. So everybody's kind of copying that now. Even like the best teams in NA are all kind of gravitating towards that style of like gritty Rocket League, very demo-y, bumpy, like dirty Rocket League, cutting rotations everywhere.
So you're saying
yeah.
like teams like Gen G and FaZe are trying to replicate that?
Yeah, similar to that. Less clean Rocket League where, if you go in to play, your job is now to rotate out of the back post. It's more like, no, get back into the play, cut rotation, mess people up, demo, like steal boost. Like everybody's just being rats on the pitch now. Like whatever you're like, if you ask yourself in pro play, what would a rat do right now? That's probably the best play to make. Like be the rattiest player possible. And what I mean by that is like the most annoying player to play against. That's probably the peak play to make.
So you're saying BDs are ratty? Okay.
Super ratty.
I wouldn't say that's like a specific team play style. I mean, I think that's just kind of standard. That's been existing for a long time. I think what you're saying is people are not trying to play as clean as they used to. I mean, for example, NRG's old play style, like that was kind of meta at one point. I guess that's what your point is. Like people aren't having set specific things they're doing. They're just playing a little bit more cheeky and smarter, I guess. But I don't think that's a meta.
I mean, not really. I said that NA had the style that a lot of teams did. Not everybody was exactly like that. I think Space Station were a bit different, with like Arsenal and Retals being very, very demo-y, aggressive. But yeah, the NRG won pretty much everything in the online era, like playing very clean Rocket League. I think that kind of makes, when a team's dominating you, most teams try and copy. It's also probably why the Fenix are more popular in EU, because Fenix were winning. And
I wouldn't say that like that's just dominated though. Like that's a bit absurd to say that that's kind of taken over and it's dominating. There are like different like NA's play style is not that different. It's still very clean. It's still very mechanical. They still utilize demos and bumps, and they're still
not really. They didn't demo. Nah,
well,
you can't.
Are you saying that
once or twice, but nah.
Are you saying BDS revolutionized it? I don't think that's true. I don't think.
They hunt. Absolutely, they did.
No, that's untrue. Did. Like, yeah, BDS obviously
based
was
on
the
what?
best team, most consistent.
I've just given a very detailed description of what I think BDS did, and now everything that I talked about is still things teams do. You can't just say, nah, actually they didn't
rotations innovate. And demoed. That's not very specific. What do you mean? Just
because
they cut rotations.
No, listen. I did. That's like a terrible generalization or terrible short version of what I said. That's not what I said at all. I didn't say they cut rotation and demoed. That's not what I said. That's two things I mentioned, but like BDS were much more like just aggressive with how far up the field they are, and like how many different players they'd have ready to make a move at the same time. They wouldn't just have a third way back all the time like most teams. And now that's what everybody does. They always have like every team, when you're attacking, everybody's up. All the best teams at least.
Wait, okay, look, if you're talking about a team not having a third or like somebody in the backfield, like that was literally like our game plan on G2. I know I'm going back to the dinosaur era here, but you can't say like BDS revolutionized this whole thing when we were literally doing that of like constant ball chasing, getting in everybody's face.
Yeah,
that's just
true.
For a while so many teams have been super aggressive. Like that.
No, for a while that worked, but then NRG picked up Squishy and they started winning everything, so everybody in NA gravitated towards that. But for a while, G2 with Rizzo were dominating, and they were like a much more aggressive style. Rizzo's actually right here. They did something very similar.
It's not right to say BDS revolutionized and like they paved the way when it's just two different play styles. Is one.
I mean, I don't think I actually said that. You're saying that I made it out as if they're like the only team influenced. I just said that this is what they did and everybody copied them. But yeah, you can describe it as revolutionizing if you want to.
But you're saying that's kind of like, oh, this is the way to go now, and everyone copies it. And this is the future.
No, actually what I said, if you rewind, is I don't think there's been any major changes since BDS. I think how BDS played back then is very similar to how the best teams play now. That's what I said.
Yeah, but it's been played like that.
You're bringing in a lot of words here that I didn't say.
Yeah, but it's been played like that before, Johnny. Like that's the entire point. It's like that play style didn't just come in with BDS.
Didn't say it wasn't. Again, I'm not sure why you're bringing that up. I didn't say it wasn't. Like Rizzo said, you did this.
No, but your point is that everyone's trying to play like BDS now, which is just not true. Everyone has like some teams are very individualistic and very aggressive, obviously, but there's also.
I'm going to be completely honest, though, Sam. I'm not sure what you're arguing here. I'm going to be completely honest. I don't know what the argument is, but I think I said that BDS played very similarly to how the best teams play now, and I stand by that.
Yeah, I know. You said that BDS, like people are trying to copy BDS now. I said, sort of, but not every team.
Oh, I suppose you could interpret it like that, but I mean, I don't know what we're arguing. I'm not sure what we're arguing anymore. This has kind of gone in many different angles. I don't know what I'm supposed to respond to anymore.
Well, fair enough.
I think that the best teams, or all of the teams in the world, copy the best team. Yes, everybody looks at the team that's winning and they copy them. So When BDS won Fall Major, everybody's like, yeah, I think we should copy them. And EU had already been copying them for like a year at that point because they'd already been winning in EU. So I think everybody copied BDS, yes, and nothing has really changed since then. We were talking about playstyles, by the way. We were talking about like has there been drastic changes. I said no, I don't think there has. I think the meta is kind of the same as BDS meta. No, nothing's really that different. It's just better, just executed more cleanly, more mechanically. Yeah, Rizzo is right. The G2 back then did play very similarly, very aggressive. The issue was that for them, for a long time, they were trying to do it, if I recall, and they kept on getting the balance wrong, where they would overextend and leave their net open. But then once they figured out how to like be a little bit more careful with their style, they didn't leave many open nets anymore. They actually dominated NA for like 6 months. How long? 6 months, 9 months?
Yeah, probably like 2-3 years or something.
Okay,
might be underselling it a bit, but yeah, it took a bit. But no, you're right with the we overcommitted a bit. But I mean, it's something that took
a lot of adjustment. You figured out how to not overcommit, once you found the balance with your aggression, the style dominated. It was ahead of its time.
Yeah, I don't think Johnny's completely like. I don't know. I was half listening, but like I don't think you're completely wrong with the whole thing of like one team will like dominate for a period, like Gale Force / Dignitas was during that time, and then I would say we had our time, Energy had their time, Energy had their time again, and then I mainly know NA. So, but like there's all these different periods where you're going to a lot of time just copy the best team or try to like replicate that. Is everybody trying to play like BDS? No. Or like, what were they trying to play like BDS? No, I don't think so. Like, if that's the actual question there, I think people are trying to play similarly in a way, but you have to do it in your own way, in your own style. That's why, you see a team like, say like German Amigos, where, they don't look anything like those teams, or they play a completely different style in that sense. So like, you can try to take small portions of the top team's gameplay of their game. But it's going to be impossible to actually,
can I change what I said then to all the best teams are playing very similar to BDS? I don't think German Amigos play like BDS at all, but I also don't think they're one of the best teams, with all due respect to them.
Right,
I think they are trying to come up with their own style, but I don't think it's working as well.
But if the point was that like a lot of teams are trying to play like BDS, and like I feel like something like German Amigos would just kind of counteract that, because if they're trying to play like them, they're not doing a good job. You know what I mean? Because they don't. They don't look like them.
It's an interesting point. They don't look at all like BDS, but I also don't think they ever will have the success of like a BDS or a Gen G or a Carmine Corp playing like they're playing. Like
a lot of people would try to just copy Carmine now. Like Carmine is absolutely dominating. They're going to try to replicate what they're doing, but they're going to do it in their own style. They're not going to just completely be like, okay, Vatira, I'm Vatira, you're Vatachi, or if I said Vatachi, Itachi, and you're Exotic. Okay, and then we're gonna do it. We're gonna get it done.
Yeah, there's obviously twists, but I don't think it's that different though. Is it that different? Like, are Carmine Corp and Gen G playing that differently from BDS? Is there like, what's the big change that I'm missing? I don't think they're that different.
I'd have to sit there and like dissect the game, Johnny. I don't really know,
I'm saying
like,
people are calling me out, but then they don't actually have any like.
I think Rocket League in general. Rocket League has
is anyone playing differently than everyone though? Like everyone's sort of doing the same thing.
Rocket League has a meta in general that's based on the best teams. The teams who are beating you, you're gonna try to be like, oh, this team did this, and then it's just gonna keep going up the ladder sort of thing. It's not directly like BDS was doing this. Carmine Corp is doing this now. Let's play like Carmine Corp. It's just gonna.
A couple months, everyone's gonna be playing like the Gladiators.
Yeah, exactly. The Gladiators are gonna come through, and it's just
I think the point is just it's not a straight line of just copying each other and like the same meta staying there. It's constantly evolving. Is the entire point. Like,
okay. Let me. I want you to give me an example though, because when I say that I don't think Carmine Corp and Gen G are playing that differently from BDS, that is like a statement that doesn't really. I'm saying that they kind of look the same, and if I say that something looks the same, and people say I disagree, I would expect them to point out the differences. And you're saying that they're different without actually pointing out the differences, which is where I'm like lost. I'm like, what are we arguing about? Because you're saying, no, they're different, you're wrong. but there's nothing I can rebuttal because you've not said
I think
what
we're
the
saying
differences
that
are.
like it wasn't like the world was black and then BDS just started playing in RLCSX and everyone's like, that's how you play. Like I think everything was still incrementally sort of improving from, all the way back to Rizzo's G2. Like we had the offense, but now as Chrome sort of said in chat, everyone's defense is so much better. While still creating that offense. Like you see everyone they're conserving boost more, even starting to move a little bit slower around the field, like a monkey moon sort of strat where he sort of crawls around and then goes bang and uses his speed, like the change up. I think just like defense is getting a lot better, but I still think, no matter how far you go back in Rocket League competitive history, it's still like incremental improvements. I don't think BDS just came along and completely changed everything. I just think that they were just better.
But I think they totally
improved
did though, because I'll tell you why I think they did is because everyone, or at least like all of the North American people who commented on BDS at the time, were saying that is bad Rocket League. On LAN, NA is going to destroy this, and then they played on LAN and they lost, and they're like, wait, maybe it is good Rocket League. So clearly, the Rocket League community is not very good at like watching Rocket League and identifying whether or not it's good, like what they're seeing. Like people have a hard time watching Rocket League. Maybe it's because of their bias. Maybe it's because of their, difficulty like seeing what will work online versus LAN. But everybody was saying that BDS are trash and that EU's trash and that this is terrible level. NA is miles clear, and that turned out not to be the case. So
No, but I think that was just from
terrible
No, I think that was just from the fraudulent NA versus EU debate. Like, I don't think that matters that much.
Well, you don't think I've got a point here that people are very bad at knowing what good Rocket League looks like based on the fact no one knew that BDS were good except the EU apparently.
Nobody knew BDS was good? Are you crazy?
Except EU, I said, who were like bigging them up, but everyone else.
That's what I was saying. Like, no, there were maybe select individuals in NA that brought it up, but no, it's just from the fraudulent NA versus EU debate. It's like hyping up NA playstyles more or whatever.
Yeah, I think you
Nobody
read a
thought
bit.
BDS was bad.
I think you read a bit into the NA versus EU debate a little too much, because like I think people could sit there and recognize that BDS was good. Like I wouldn't watch EU as much because I would say BDS boring. BDS just stomped the region. I don't want to watch BDS. I want NRG on top, baby. And like I was doing that as well. But like that doesn't mean that I think BDS is the worst and like NA is gonna absolutely stomp. I did think NA was gonna. I don't know, dominate. I did think NA was gonna win. Like I'll say that I think NRG was gonna win, but that's also like a natural fanboy. Like I'm just gonna say that no matter what. Is it based on anything? No, but you can't just read into it like my clear bias here on something like that.
I know, but people can't just say, "Oh, actually, see when I predicted way back then the BDS and EU were going to get crushed, and that actually NA's miles better." I was only joking. I wasn't serious. It was all for content. Like now, I'm saying
I predicted NA. I thought NRG was gonna win. I thought NRG was gonna like win the major. Like I'm just saying that. But also, even if I didn't, I would say NRG is going to win because I have the bias. Like I was wrong, but I would also say it even if I thought I was, wasn't going to be wrong or whatever. I don't even know where I'm at now. I lost my own train of thought.
It's more like it was kind of a battle of like exciting play styles back then, whereas like you saw NA gave a lot of time and space, and like you saw the top teams just hitting flip resets and like, oh my god, these guys are just going to clip on EU, whereas BDS were more that 3-man team play, and it was kind of like more boring goals, if you will. So people were just kind of like trashing on them that like they were playing boring Rocket League. I think that was kind of like more the debate. I don't know if it was how successful it was going to be on LAN. I think that was more like an NA versus EU copium, year off online era sort of thing.
Well, I think it was a bit of both. I think it was definitely like fans bigging up their own region, but I have to think that there was some truth to what people were saying, because when I'm bigging up a region that I want to win, I'd stay within the realms of what I think is true for the.
That's where we're different.
At the time.
That's where me and you are different, Johnny.
Okay. That makes sense in your case for sure. But I think there's lots of like people commenting and talking online about how the regions are going to do, thinking NA is miles clear, just based on watching the games, and it didn't turn out to be the case. So I don't know. I have to just assume people can't, like, as a community. Rocket League might just be a really hard game to like tell what is good gameplay when you watch two teams play. It might just be hard.
Marky, are you trying to copy BDS? Yes or no?
No, we don't have the facilities for that, big man.
Oh, the facilities.
Sure.
Oh my days.
There you go.
We're not doing
I,
that.
but
He's
just wanted
ended
to-
it.
like, I did say everybody was going to copy BDS. I don't think everybody tries to copy the best team, and they were the best team for a while. So now people are copying Genji and KC and FaZe because they're the best teams.
I mean, at the end of the
Um,
day, 3 is just so unpredictable. I mean, only now you kind of have like 2 teams dominating each region, or a couple of teams, sorry, but like it's just really hard to predict each major. Like 3 is just so volatile.
Yeah, it is. I think that's tied into the fact that it's hard to know what good gameplay looks like because it's such a hard game to predict. Which actually goes back to something I wanted to ask you guys. We were talking about maps earlier. Should the map be bigger for 3s? Would that make it easier to predict? Just as bigger, same shape, but
Wait, do
wider.
you mean
and
like predict
Nah, it'd be
results?
boring.
well, okay. My thinking, yeah, predict results because I'm thinking 1v1 and 2v. Well, 1v1 is definitely easier to predict than 3s because the map is proportionally bigger to the players on it. 'Cause only 2 players. 3s is hard. I think like the pitch being so small means that there's a lot more 50s determining results than outplays. A lot more just challenges and 50-50s and bounces are determining wins compared to like actual outplays by the players who are better. Maybe bigger map would fix it.
Yeah, I'd like
but-
to see a bigger map.
I don't know. Like, if we have a bigger map, like psychos aren't making the distance. I think it's I think it's the threat right now of
Yeah,
the
that's
small.
the biggest
Listen,
problem with having a
But
bigger
like,
map.
listen, right now, the best thing about Rocket League is the threat of it. Like at any point, even if you're on offense, is it the fact that it could go in your net at any second? So you still need someone covering it. I think that if you have a bigger map, it's sort of just I feel like it'd be more boring. Like you'd have more
Yeah.
set offense. Like you'd be on offense for longer because you can't just like ping it down the other end and then you're on. Like you can ping it down the other end, but it's not going to go in. So by the
It'd be a
time
lot
third man's going to be able to
slower.
rotate that, yeah, it'd just be slower, and I think it'd just be more boring. I think it's exciting right now because it's a small map and anything. It's not even that small, really. If you look at Rocket League on a fly cam with how small the cars are compared to the pitch, like it's. I think we're just. Yeah,
It's just
I-
people can move very fast. You can get up and down the
They
pitch
can.
very quickly. Okay, what if the goal's bigger then? What if they make the goal bigger? More goals. Bigger goals.
more goals.
More
Yeah,
goals.
bigger
More
goals.
goals?
There will be
What
more
if
goals.
players just scored more?
I think
But you
the
can't.
the small map, the intensity of like actually scoring a goal, like the challenge in actually scoring a goal, makes the games more intense. They make them better because when you get the really tight like OT that's going for 5 minutes and teams are pinging back and forth across the map, but they're also like getting the saves just in time. Like that's what makes it super entertaining. If there was just like, oh, there's a big beat, there's only one defender left, like here's a mid pass play and it takes like 10 extra seconds to get down the pitch, exaggeration of course, but 10 extra seconds to get down the pitch, it's just like it wouldn't be as entertaining to see something like
10
that.
seconds visualizing like one
Yeah.
clear and another one. and another one.
Oh, what's gonna happen next? But like since it's so quick and you know the play can transition in less than 3 seconds, I think that's what makes a lot of the plays much more interesting, much more
Yeah.
tense.
Also, I think like when you say there's it could be a lot more outplays. I mean, it depends what you define as outplay, really. I mean, like less 50-50s, sure, maybe, but it'd still be very decisive. Like, it'd be more like solo based, I think, if anything. It'd be a lot more based on one player doing one thing specifically if it has like a bigger map.
I still want to see it. I've not seen it. Like with Lathimer did a massive map one day. I don't know if he ever did a slightly bigger map. He once made a huge map with like boost everywhere, and like I casted I think a 4v4 on it, and everyone was just driving around with full boost the entire time, and there were like no goals because the map was ginormous, and everyone had unlimited boost. I mean, you give pros unlimited boost on a standard map, there's not many goals because everybody just saves everything. But on the massive map, there was even less goals. It was just 0-0 every game, and then somebody would like win 1-0 7 minutes into OT. That would be a normal game. That's why I was saying bigger goal. If bigger map, you need a bigger goal as well, maybe. But I don't know what would actually happen in the
I
game.
still
Maybe it
think
would
you'd score less. Maybe a smaller ball, same size map. It's harder to save. I don't know. That could be
smaller
the play.
ball.
Hard to pull
Messing
off
with
the
the ball
mechanics,
would be
though.
tricky. Yeah, the dribbling would change. Like
The percent would change. Everything would change. I mean, the flicks would change. I think it's possible. Like, maybe a goal with like the crossbar is like kind of a little bit higher would be interesting because like then you'd need a little bit more boost on defense. Maybe it would make it a little bit more aggressive and fast paced.
I'm scared of making like the ball different in any way, because then like everything changes. Like maybe dribbling's not even possible, or flip resets aren't even possible anymore because the ball just bounces off your car. Like if they make the ball smaller, or lighter, or get hit harder, then maybe it's just impossible.
Well, what about Chrome said in chat? They want them to change up the kickoff variations. What if kickoffs were completely random in that in that your half of the field, your car could spawn in any position? So imagine you just need to hold on, and all of a sudden the person spawns right next to the ball, whereas all your team is like in the corners, and you're like, oh my god,
way, man, that would be so cringe. Imagine you're just like that could be the
complete RNG.
Oh my goodness, they've spawned in front of the ball and the other team's on the ceiling. It might be an equalizer, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh my god, they're in the air and they've got no boost. That could shift it up. I think Marky would be down for that.
I mean, give me a better chance at least.
So we brought up a lot of stuff like map changes, map size, and like car variations, all this stuff. Do you think you guys are completely against any change? Do you think Rocket League is perfect as it is?
Just don't change the core mechanics. That's the #1 rule. Just don't change the core mechanics. Like actually, like with Chrome said, actually, like different kickoffs. Like it's like same kind of rule set for kickoffs, but like different positions and stuff would actually spice things up and make things a little bit more interesting, I think. But just don't change the core mechanics. The game is really, really good as it is. Like so we're gonna have it different in Unreal Engine 5, but as long as you don't change the core mechanics, like the ball size or the physics or how big the car is or the hitboxes, then like you're good. You can change everything else.
Is it a problem though that it's possible to have a 15-minute overtime in pro play? Do you guys think that's good for the esport, or is it bad that can happen with the current?
Great. I think that's fantastic. I mean, it shows how volatile things are. How it shows how like intense it can be. Like you can either have a match where it just goes 1-0 and that's it, or you can have a match that goes 8-8 and then long OT. I mean, it shows how extreme Rocket League can be on both sides.
Sometimes you do get a boring OT every now and then, but as long as it's a nice one, a nice 15-minute one that'll keep you on the edge of your seat, it's good. It's amazing for the game.
Yeah.
I feel like it can be interesting. I don't know. I'm not sold on it. It may be like in the future if defense gets too good and those overtimes start happening a lot. I would think that would be bad. Right now they're rare enough that I'm fine with it, but I think if they're often, it would be really bad.
I think there comes a point where defense is never going to be that much higher than offense. Like people are going to continue growing mechanically, like at a similar rate as defense improves in a team. I think that's constantly going to like improve at the same kind of level.
I wonder what the stats are. We need some halfway dead stats or some direct stats on this, like goals per game now versus every other season. Maybe it's increasing, maybe it's going down. I'm not even sure, but I feel like it'll decrease. I think
as things become more consistent, the more OTs there will be for sure.
Goals have gone down over time. That makes sense. I think goals will continue to go down over time because it's hard to score in this. Much harder to score into a goalkeeper with 12 boost than 0, and people are getting better at boost management. Whereas like in offense, players can get better in attack, but it's so hard to score against really good teams these days.
Yeah,
and they're not even playing close to perfect. Like imagine perfect defense in Rocket League. How do you score? Literally, how do you score? It's going to be impossible. People just perfectly
Demo meta.
Demo meta, another iteration.
Run it back.
What if overtime was just a 1v1?
Players start disappearing every minute.
Yeah,
that'd be kind of
drop
cool.
off. That'd be cool.
That'd be wild, actually.
That would be like, you know how everybody hates penalties in football or soccer for our American listeners? You know,
nobody hates it. What are you on about?
No, I definitely like hate it as a like if my team was playing, I would hate it. Like I used to play a lot of football when I was younger. I hated penalties because I thought it was such a stupid way for the game to end. I'm like, they don't deserve this if they win this on penalties. So I would hate it as a player. I would hate it as if I care about the team who's playing. But if I don't care about who's playing, I love it because it's like just entertainment value. But I think it would 1v1, a game of 3s ending in a game of 1s would be like the Rocket League version of penalties. I would hate that as like a player, hate that as someone involved in the team's playing.
Yeah, I think that's a bad way to end things. I mean, regardless, like most teams have a really good ones player, but still that'd be a terrible way to end things, I think. Be interesting, but it's not.
Yeah, it would be very entertaining, but it would be like cringe.
As a player, it'd be awful.
It'd be unrelated at all. Like, imagine if 3 teams like really, really good, like World Champion finals, and they go to Game 7 and it goes to overtime. Oh no, it's the 1v1 and we have no 1v1 players. That would just be the worst, worst possible ending.
Your team would just play defense all the time then in those matches.
would just make it
I'd
mandatory that you
imagine
have
the
a one to
1v1 is like, one person starts with the ball in their goal and the other person starts in the other goal, and you just have to defend it. You can't, you know what I mean? Then you swap over.
You're thinking hockey style penalty shootouts.
Yeah.
Dribble at him. Oh my goodness.
That's kind of cool.
That'd be sick. It'd be like the build up, like, oh my god, here we go. It's like first kill of Daniel.
And are you allowed to just go as the goalie? Are you allowed to just
Yeah, you can go. You can't score. It's like blocked off like in a training map, like the other goal. But
maybe they just have to keep you out for like 10 seconds. You have to score in 10 seconds. The other person just have to survive. That I would love that actually. Like that style of penalty shootout would be kind of cool. Just solo plays.
Yeah.
But not an actual.
No, I think that would drag on for quite a while though. Like depending on the player. Like even in 1v1, sometimes you see incredibly low scoring 1v1s. So it might just end up being as boring as the long OT.
I think you got 15 seconds to score a goal.
possible.
Keep the ball out.
CJ's suggestion, you mean?
Actually, no, you've got 15 seconds to score, or if the ball gets cleared past the halfway line, it's dead as well.
What
is what they do in like field hockey.
Yeah, what if
you clear it outside the area?
Team A, like maybe it's G2 are playing, and Team A against Team B. Who could Team B? It could be FaZe, I suppose. And then they both have to send out one player for like round one. It's like one attacker, one defender. So maybe G2 send out Atomic as the guy taking the penalty, who has the ball in one half, in his goal or next to his goal at one end. First killer spawns in the blue goal for FaZe, and you've got 10 seconds to score. Probably you would just go for the back corner boost, full pitch air dribble, all in, because it doesn't matter if you concede. It's either score or you lose the ball. And if he scores, then FaZe have to score. It's sudden death immediately. FaZe have to get one. They have to score back on their turn, or else they're out. And if they score, now it's back to G2, who could miss, and then FaZe could score to win it. Like, you would just go back and forth. Maybe you could even do, like, 3 rounds, so everybody takes a turn, or everybody has to take a turn. And if there's no, like, winner by then you continue sudden death. I think there's something here. I think, like, that would work.
Rizzo, you gotta host this as a tournament ending.
Have to what?
This kind of tournament. Yeah, you gotta host this kind of tournament with this as the tiebreaker.
Johnny's long described shootout idea. Penalty shootout idea.
Yeah, go on, man. He needs it.
Yeah, when it started off, I was thinking sudden death, but it did just end up as a shootout as I thought my way through. I was like, wait, shootout.
Yeah, you really described a regular shootout.
I really don't like shootouts, and then you took 20 minutes to describe a shootout.
The more I thought about it, I was like, nah, never mind. Shootout's better.
All right. Well, I mean, I think that's a fantastic time to wrap up this Chalkcast, gentlemen. Any objections?
No, it
doesn't seem like it.
Any objections?
Doesn't seem like it. Doesn't seem like it. All right, I mean, I'm just making sure nobody wanted to chat it up. But yeah, shout out to Marky, Max, and OSM for joining us as our special guests. Thank you to CJ and Johnny for carrying me as always. Appreciate you guys. And if you guys did miss any of Chalkcast, we will be tweeting out those links for Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and the YouTube link a little bit later on tonight, or maybe in the morning if I go to bed. We'll figure it out. But yeah, thank you everybody for watching, and we will see you all next time. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye-bye.